Hello, this is Adeline here, and my research study is learner motivation and engagement in the classroom. Students enroll in class either as part of their core requirements or as an elective or to satisfy basically the graduation requirement. And they have different motivations that is either intrinsic or extrinsic motivation that gets them to um, enroll in the classroom. And teachers always expect students to be fully engaged in the class regardless of the motivation that got them into the class in the first place. Some of the key words that I'll be talking about is the motivation, and the motivation, there are two types of motivation: intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic is when someone is motivated because they have a personal value to it. And then the extrinsic motivation is when someone um, does something because of the rewards that comes with it. So that is the intrinsic part. And then with the engagement, there are different kinds of engagement. There's the behavioral engagement, cognitive engagement, and then emotional engagement. And also there are different levels of engagement. And Schlechte has 5 different levels: authentic, ritual, compliance, passive compliance, ritualism, and rebellion. And then authentic is when the students actually have meaning to the to what they are studying, so they are fully engaged. And the ritual compliance is when they don't have any value, but because of the grades, they get engaged for it because they want to do well in the class. And the passive compliance is that they don't have any value to it, but because of they want to avoid the punishment that comes with it, they get engaged. Ritualism is when they are not engaged, they don't care, but at the same time they are not disruptive, so they are disengaged. Rebellion is when they actually are disengaged and at the same time are disruptive in the classroom. So the purpose of this study is on 3 things: to learn more about motivation and learning, engagement and learning, and the relationship between motivation and engagement. So that leads to the research question: that what is the relationship between students' motivation for enrolling in a class and their engagement in the class? The significance of this is that the results from this study will guide teachers and educators in creating efficient strategies to enhance students' motivation, engagement in the classroom, and also to produce better learning outcomes. There are studies that support this. A study by Said and Zengier actually said that when teachers are able to appropriate better pedagogies in the classroom, the students' motivation and engagement shows that they end up producing better outcomes within the learning environment. The literature review is based on the 3 topics. So on the motivation and learning, that the study that the more a student is intrinsically motivated to learn a subject, the student is more committed in deeper learning of the subject. And that another one is that the ones who exhibit a medium level of extrinsic motivation, they end up also attaining higher grades, because mind you, these are the ones that are doing it for the grades. So they end up attaining higher grades. Another one on engagement and learning. Engagement is that it's found that has a positive relationship in learning, especially when there's a teacher and peer support, and then the challenging and authentic outcomes actually produces a better outcome. And that when comparing the difference between the engagement in peer collaborative learning environment, it's also shown that girls tend to be more engaged in the classrooms than boys, when they are the ones actually leading, when it's not a teacher led, but it's more of like a discussion groups, that the girls also tend to perform better. And then the literature review also goes to say that with motivation and engagement, the students prefer extrinsic motivation, end up exhibiting more ritualistic and ritualism, forms of engagement. Um, as well. And also for the research methods, there's going to be 2: the quantitative and the qualitative case-based studies, and participants will be from the social work and then the auto mechanic class in Athens Technical College. And this is going to be a 2-day observation with pre-test the day before and a post-test after the second day. So the day one will be class as usual. Day two will be the class where, and then in day one, students will be observed, and then day two, the teachers will be asked to conduct a collaborative learning session to see how students interact and get motivated and see how the engagement goes. And then they'll be observed as well, and also they will do a post test right after. Um, and then the instrument will be based on the sub 5 point Likert scale, from strongly agree all the way to strongly disagree. And then the data collected will check on these four things: the students' intrinsic and extrinsic motivation before and during class, students' engagement during class discussions, and then the relevance of the course to teachers, to the students' career, and then the demographics. And then these are the references to that. I'm sorry this went a little bit over the 5 minutes, but thank you very much.